So Dead by Daylight released its PTB for the 31st chapter, coming March 12th. And I just wanted to make a quick little video giving my initial thoughts. I don't really have like a set out script for this. I do have some notes I made. This is mostly to get back into video editing because it's been like 2 years since I last edited something. And mostly because I'm working on a 4-hour video essay on a movie called Cocaine Bear. And I want that to be good. So without further ado, let's get into my initial thoughts, starting with the map. So my initial thoughts on the map are pretty positive overall. The new map is part of the Withering Isle realm, which uses the Ichorus foam offering. I am definitely illiterate, yes. Which makes that offering about 50% better, because on the one hand you get the new map Greenville Square, which is just an amazing map. On the other hand, you get Garden of Joy, which is just a terrible map that I absolutely despise, but it does look very pretty, that map. But that's not here or there. I'm gonna be honest, this map, the Greenville Square, might be my new favorite map, from just the visuals alone. I mean, the movie theater it has, which will be visible in a later part of this video, I don't know where the gameplay will be. It looks amazing. It's a pretty decent main structure. It's not too strong, it's not too weak. There's a fun little thing where if you smack a pallet, the pinball machines go nuts, which is always fun. Although the middle looks a bit bland, it's mostly just junk loops until you get to like a statue, which has a neat little Easter egg on it I was made aware of. But overall, I'm pretty positive about this map. I don't have any strong feelings about Dead by Daylight maps. They're Dead by Daylight maps. Most of them are just terrible, so the bar is very low. But I give it a passing grade, 7 out of 10 for the map. Now there's also the new killer, which is called The Unknown. I'm just gonna call him Bub because that is just simpler and more fun to say. Bub. Bub's power, it's like a grenade launcher that requires you to hit splash damage on a survivor, because direct hits do basically nothing. I know they give like hinder it, but that's about it. And if you wanted to do that, just play clown. So you really need to aim around the survivor to get that splash damage off, to get them into the weakened status effect, which is this new status effect, to then hit them again to injure them, which is a bit similar to Nemesis, where you need to hit like twice to injure a survivor with your power. Honestly, direct hit should do something just to make Bub smoother to play. That's really my only complaint. Besides that, there's one add-on, it's a yellow one. I forgot what it's called. But basically that add-on lets you destroy your illusions using grenade and makes them give off the splash damage, which honestly, because that, and then gives you your illusions back faster, that helps with my second complaint, namely the illusions. These are a movement tool that you periodically drop. You don't have control over when you drop them, they just drop randomly when the meter fills up. Currently, I don't know how much that is. The Dead by Daylight players are figuring it out as I speak. It's PTB. And you can teleport to those. But the reason I think that should be basic is because it gives you a bit more control. And control is always nice, and it could help with the skill ceiling of Bub, which is already pretty high, but you know, raising it is always fun. Visually speaking, Bub looks horrible in the best way possible. He's all twisted and mangled. He looks like he's been in a freak accident. I love it. And his voice, the way he mimics speech, that's just, it oozes charm. I really like that. I can't wait to see what kind of skins he gets. Originally I was kind of mixed on the power because it was just, I didn't expect it, you know, with the Deezers we got, we all expected like a crawling killer because one of the Deezers was him crawling. But now that I have had some time to collect my thoughts, I'm quite fond of him. I like Bub. Then there's of course the perks Bub comes with. There is Unbound. After injuring a survivor for the next 30 seconds, you can vault and get 5% haste for 10 seconds. This cannot stack with itself. Honestly, I don't see the use out of this. Maybe if you're like playing Legion of Bamboozle, it could be good, but don't see the use in it. Unforeseen. When you kick a generator for the next 30 seconds, that generator has your tear radius, which will be set to 32 meters no matter what. and you become undetectable. Once this ends, this perk has a 30-second cooldown. Now here's a little thing, which the perk didn't mention. If you kick a generator again during those 30 seconds that it's active, you can reset the timer. So this is not really 30 seconds, it can be longer if you keep kicking. It's quite a decent stealth perk. It's a good side grade to Trail of Torment from Pyramid Head. I don't think one is per se better than the other because Trail of Torment can be countered by getting on the generator, whereas Unforeseen can't. This is definitely his best perk, and I will be using this on Bub. And lastly, Bub comes with Undone. For every failed skill check survivors do, gain 3 tokens, up to 30. Upon kicking a generator, it loses, depending on how many tokens you have, X amount of percent. So let's say you have 3 tokens, it loses 3 extra percent. If you have 30, it loses 30%. And it then becomes blocked for X amount of seconds, depending on how many tokens. So 3 is 3 seconds, 30 is 30 seconds, then like that. So unless you're Doctor, I don't see the use in this perk. I genuinely think this perk is trash. Feel free to correct me and be like, oh no, this is actually a really good perk. I don't care. I think it's trash. That's all I have to say on it. I'm neutral on Bub's perks. That's nothing outrageous. I mean, I didn't expect anything outrageous or meta changing. Just kind of middle of the road. I give Bub overall with his perks a 7.5 out of 10, which is a very high score in my eyes.
Now I'm bad.
So the new survivor for chapter 31, that is Sable Ward. I'm gonna be very blunt. I like Sable Ward's design. I like it a lot. Something about it just resonates with me, and it's not because haha, goth girl hot. I have more brain cells than that. I have more self-respect than that. But I'm gonna be very honest. She is the reason I'm buying this chapter. While I do like the Unknown a lot, I like Sybil a lot more than I like Bub. Her design just resonates with me. Same with the lore, which is all about finding comfort in dark things and horror and feeling a guilt over the disappearance of a loved one, like you push them away, which is something I can quite relate to. And her idle animations in the lobby are just cute because, you know, she holds a little cup, she's just being nice and just going yum. Those voice lines are just nice. It's always nice to have more talkative survivors. Then there is her perks. Her first perk is Wicked. This perk will be changed completely post PTB, so I'm not even going to mention it. Maybe somebody already mentioned it. If it is, I will hit it. So while I was editing this, I realized that Wicked was going to be changed, and I actually found that before I was making this video, and I completely forgot about it. So Wicked's new version, your self-unhook attempts in the basement will always succeed. When you are unhooked or unhook yourself, you see the killer's aura for 16, 18, and 20 seconds. This is straight from behavior. It was confirmed by them, and this will be the live version. I'll probably have like an image from the person that posted this up somewhere in the video. But yeah, I'm stupid. Then there is a new type of perk. Invocations. Invocations basically are a perk which you have to go into the basement for, and that interact with a special salt circle. So the first of these new perks is called Invocation Weaving Spiders. While in the basement, as I mentioned, a salt circle will spawn. You can then work on this for 120 seconds. This is sped up for every survivor that helps to work on this. And once it's completed, you become broken for the rest of the trial. You will still bleed and moan like you're injured and have the broken status effect. But as the upside, every generator that is not being completed will gain 50% progress instantly. Doesn't matter how much progress it has, it will just get 15% flat. While this effect is kind of strong, you kind of struggle with the downside. The downside is right now too heavy because it is just broken and you will be bleeding, which is just horrible. In my eyes, at least. That you can definitely make this work if you're like with a coordinated team, but it's not for me. I do hope that more invocation perks get added, and it won't end like teamwork perks, where we get one chapter that has teamwork perks, and then it's never mentioned again. So that's fun. And then there is a last perk, Strength in Shadows. While injured in the basement, you can heal yourself without a medkit at 60% speed. And upon completing any healing action, so that's also other survivors, you will see the aura for the killer for 10 seconds. I love this perk. I really do. So I play a lot of solo queue, and something that I notice is that nobody heals me. There's a reason I used to run self-care, because nobody heals me. If I heal somebody, it's will make it off the hook, bada bing bada boom, 5 seconds later you're back in the game. Because will make it is just the GOAT, together with Kindred in solo queue. But the opposite is, nobody heals me in solo queue, so this will just allow me to hide in the basement, because nobody checks basement. Sure, on the release day, people will be checking the basement, because everybody's gonna be in the basement because of Sable's perks. Makes sense. But after that, first 2 weeks, nobody's gonna check basement. And you're just gonna be able to heal there, and it's quite nice. So that's fun. Definitely my favorite perk of Sable's. Overall, I like Sable a lot. She gets a 10 out of 10 for me for just visuals and perks, even if one of her perks literally did not even exist on the PTB because Wicked was just a placeholder effect. But Strength in Shadows alone makes her a 10 out of 10 for me, together with her design. I will definitely main her when she releases. And then there's the last thing I want to talk about as the chapter overall from just a point of view on what I think about it. Well, there's one more point I will get in later. And that's the music. So I've been playing the music for the Survivor in the main menu this entire background. That's what you've been hearing in the background. And it's pretty good. I definitely like it. It eventually builds up and it's pretty creaky. The Killer's menu music is just not my taste. It's a louder version of the Survivor's version. So it's even more creaky, I just don't like it. And as for the chase music, the washing machine is back. There's just a washing machine in Bub's chase music, and I hate it. Please, we'll keep using the washing machine. Stop using the washing machine. It does not work. Please stop using that washing machine. Yeah, that is my opinion of the music, but I do have one last thing, a little side rant. So, my little side rant is, while I was collecting my thoughts for this chapter, it kind of became obvious to me that this chapter and a previous chapter we got last year, and I don't mean last year like 2023, I mean Lost Dead by Daylight year, so year 6, Roots of Dread, and all things with it kind of had a lot of overlap. So the main survivor is somebody that investigates a disappearance or disappearances or things that are off, weird, and all that. Both are friends with somebody else that also disappears, and both have some issues with their parents. Sable is just, oh, my parents don't understand me. Well, Hattie, her parents are dead. That's fun. And then it kind of just clicked with me. If you swap Sable and Hattie, you would get 2 better chapters overall, thematically speaking. Hattie is somebody that investigates the Ravage and overlaps and urban legends, and the Unknown fits right in that atmosphere. Bub is perfect for that. He's a urban legend. I'm pretty sure there's people that think he is the entity. At least that's what it's trying to hint at. He isn't. I'm pretty sure about that. He's just an urban legend that gives form because you try and comprehend him. And the design for Bub, I think I mentioned it when I was talking about his design. He looks like he's been in a car crash, a horrid accident. Hattie's parents were in an accident. What if Hattie, through her trauma, and trying to find out this urban legend manifests that as like her parent in his horrible disfigured state after, you know, the freak accident they were in. And then there's the fact that in Bob's lore, it outright states that he was being investigated by somebody. Somebody was doing a final thesis for a project. That could pretty much just be Hattie. You could pretty much say that's Hattie, and you would not get a difference in story. The only difference would be the conclusion, which is that both Bob and Hattie get taken at the same time. Because in Bob's story, only Bob gets taken, whereas the investigator from his story doesn't get taken. Meanwhile, Sable, who I haven't really talked about for this section of my rant, dared Michaela to read about what was seemingly the entity. Or, well, it says the unknown in her lore, but it's pretty obvious from Michaela's lore that it was the entity. The dredge is just a mini version of the entity. And you could basically be like, alright, well, Michaela accidentally summoned the dredge, which would make more climatic sense. Like, she summoned the entity and was taken by that, and as a result, Greenville is now haunted by Dredge after he gets taken from the Ultimarians in the Garden of Joy after his rampage there in the fucking 1800s, I believe. And then there is just thematic overlap between Sable and Dredge. Sable and Dredge both are pretty much related to darkness. Sable flirts with it but doesn't really completely embrace it yet. Meanwhile, Dredge is just made of darkness. He's the boogeyman, or it's the boogeyman. The monster in your closet. It's because Dredge is literally made of darkness. Its body we see, that's not the Dredge. The little fog we see, that's Dredge. So thematically, the two are kind of conduits to each other, where both are related to darkness in a way. Meanwhile, Hattie and Bub are more related to investigations and urban legends. Both chapters even came with a map set in the Withering Isle realm. A green square, Greenville Square. Greenville Square is more tied with Hattie than with Hattie. I'm losing my words right now. Jesus Christ. Think for a moment. Calm down. Greenville Square is more tied with Sable, as that's where her and Michaela used to go on dates to watch horror movies, than it is with Bob, because Bob just kind of took it as like, oh, I'm gonna go make disappearance happen here because, haha, Michaela disappeared at the Moonstone Cafe here. Meanwhile, Garden of Joy, yeah, it only works for Dredge as a map. Dredge was pretty much first summoned there by Otto Stamper. But that's about it. Meanwhile, Hattie can work with any map because she just investigates things. She could be investigating Greenville Square or the Garden of Joy. I don't really have any notes on Hattie interprets the map. Again, you don't have to really agree with this like little side rant about how Sable and Hattie could be swapped and make more thematic sense, because it's just kind of how I feel about the chapter, and it's just a complete rant. And as you can see, I just kind of lose my words for a moment because it's not really scripted, this. But that's all I kind of had to say on that. So my closing thoughts on the chapter overall. I really enjoyed this chapter. In the PTB, I had my problems with it, but now that the PTB is over and I've kind of had time to collect my feelings and my thoughts, I'm going to give this a very high score, namely a 10 out of 10. This is my second favorite chapter, or even my favorite chapter, together with Roots of Dread. It kind of depends on what day it is, and it bodes for different reasons. For Roots of Dread, it's because, oh, I like the Dredge a lot, Dredge is my favorite killer. Meanwhile, All Saints Weekend, it's because I like the map and Sable more. Meanwhile, Roots of Dread, I hate the map and how it just exists. So that's all I have to give it on a scoring terms. And beyond that, I will start editing more and making more videos. The first thing I will be doing is making a review of every chapter released in Dead by Daylight after the Hellraiser chapter, because Hellraiser was the last chapter I mentioned in my top 24 Dead by Daylight chapters, so I already talked about that and my feelings on it. And eventually, when I catch up to the modern day, I will be going back to some of those older chapters that I mentioned in that 24, top 24 I did 2 years ago. And slowly releasing those. I'll be trying to do like one a week. I will think about it. Maybe that's too far shot. And while I'm all doing that, I will be working on the Snow Toes Bear movie, which is a 4-hour video essay that has been draining me. That will probably be done before 2025, but I doubt it. So that's all I have to say about All Things Wicked. Goodbye.